Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome out to season 3 of According to Kaz and Queen. And as always, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And this is this little podcast of ours. These are conversations that happen between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we bring to you guys. Sometimes to make you laugh, sometimes to make you think, but to always open up the lines of communication between men and women. As you see, it is season 3. Episode 51, and you know, we always got to switch it up. We've been working on this, and I've been diligently in here for a couple of hours making sure that we could have this new set up, because every time we start a new season, I want to try to have a new look. I don't know what the look is going to be for season 4. I think we have pretty much traversed all of the spaces that we have available to us in here. But this is where we're going to be for season 3. As I said at the end of season 2, if you were watching us on YouTube, of course, you know, I'm always trying to make this experience as comfortable as possible for my bride and myself. And I think we have done that. We are in a spot that we are in a lot. And this is where a lot of our conversations take place. So I thought it was appropriate that we have these conversations here to bring to you guys. So if you have been listening to us, of course, you can listen to us on all streaming services. We are on Spotify. We are on Google Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Apple Music as well. You can check us out there. You can check us out, of course, on Black with No Chaser. Shouts out to the Black with No Chaser crew. Shouts out to Tyson, CJ, Dollar Black, who, you know, loads up all of the podcasts. He hit me up in the DMs and said, you know, make sure you send me season 3. We're ready to get it started. So make sure you can check us out on Black with No Chaser Radio as well. And of course, if you are looking at us right now, we got a new setup. You know, if you're listening to us, you can't see this, but if you go to the YouTube channel, of course, you can check us out. So make sure that you like and subscribe to the YouTube page. All right. That is youtube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin. That's youtube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin. You can check out all of the past seasons of According to Kaz and Queen, and you can check out season 3. All right. We got a new banner. We got a lot of things going on. We got to talk about debate night. We got something really, really cool that's going to be coming up. So we're going to tell you about that. We got a lot of special guests that's going to be coming up on season 3 and a lot of good conversations. So, you know, you ready?
Yeah, that intro was super long.
Was it?
Yes.
I mean, I had to set the people up.
Okay.
I know you get on me a lot of times. You know, I will ramble occasionally, but you know, it's the season 3 premiere.
Okay,
so you know, we kind of had to set them up. Now you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, that's cool. But at any rate, of course, we're gonna get this season 3 started, man. We're gonna get things going on. For those of you who did not know, it was our anniversary just a few days ago. All right, celebrating 14 years of wedded bliss with my beautiful bride. And this was another year of introspection, of reflection. We've been waiting to have our conversation every year. When we have our anniversary, we have a conversation about reflecting on the previous year and goals that we want to do going forward. You know, we've kind of been missing on that conversation this year because we've had a lot of stuff going on. But here we are, 14 years of wedded bliss, our anniversary. You know, just I think maybe a little over a year and a half ago, we weren't doing a podcast. It's a lot of stuff that we weren't doing. You've had a lot of things to happen. We've had a lot of things going on in the marriage as well. But, you know, for the married people out there and for the single people out there, reflecting on 14 years of marriage, 14 years of marriage. What are your thoughts initially?
I'm glad you stuck around.
I'm here. I'm here.
I know that I am not the easiest wife in the world. I recognize that. But he is not the easiest husband either.
No, I'll give you that.
Together, we make it work. Falling in love more and more every day. That's probably to be expected for most married people. Maybe not, but, you know, you would hope. But I think that what makes me most thankful is that we continue to grow individually and intentionally put effort into growing together. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't want to look around in 6 months or a year and not know the other person, not know their feelings, their thoughts, their desires, their dreams, the things that they want to work on. We just kind of try to stay in touch with each other. It's not always pretty. We don't aim for pretty. We aim for doable. So I'm really just very thankful to still be here, still be in love, still be excited, about the future and about what it has for us. So collectively, as a union, I'm just thankful.
We say all the time that marriage is work. And I think a lot of younger people hear that all the time. And, when I go on social media a lot, I see a lot of these takes from young people who, are I guess they're fighting back or they're pushing back against the notion of marriage having to be hard work. They are pushing back against the notion of you being able to outgrow someone. They're pushing back against a lot of the notions that, married people that have been married for a while know to be true. And, if you live life long enough and if you experience things long enough, you'll actually see what your mother and what your grandmother and those older people in your family actually went through. The relationships, the pitfalls in the relationships, the highs and the lows of the relationships, those things come. And in 14 years, you realize that you do have to put in the work. You can't just get up every day and be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and go through life thinking that there are never going to be hiccups, especially when you're dealing with someone that, is your best friend. As, my bride is my best friend in the world. You're going to run into conflict. That's going to happen.
Absolutely.
And parenting conflict is going to happen.
Individual conflict.
Individual conflict is
you go
going
through
to
your
happen.
own stuff. So it's ridiculous to think that you wouldn't go through it trying to be in a partnership.
I mean, it's true. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like, it is actually work. There are moments in your marriage where, although you love someone, there are moments where you might not really like that person.
Absolutely. No doubt about that.
There are moments, when that person is going to just really, really, make you angry. I was talking to a coworker and she said something that was really profound.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking to someone about being angry with someone, talking to someone about, getting mad at someone and, how that relates in the workplace. And she was basically saying, like, your spouse is the person that you go to bed with, you wake up with, you eat with them, you sleep with them, you travel with them, you talk with them, you cry with them, you pray with them. That is the person that you spend the most of your time with. And other people in your life that aren't that person, they're really not important enough for you to get as mad at them as you do with your spouse.
Absolutely.
Which I thought was extremely profound. The person that you're going to get the maddest with in the world at any time is going to be your spouse.
I'd say that to a client this week. You are literally the only person that makes me mad. I don't think there's anybody else out there who has the capacity to make me angry. There are actions that I'm like, oh, that's messed up, but angry,
right.
Like to the point to where I got to leave the room or I got to say a cuss word or, like get outside of my character. There is no human. Sometimes the children maybe can get me to that point, but it's still a little bit different. But you're the only person that makes me feel that way. Can possibly get me that angry.
Yeah, and I think that's vice versa. I do have some people that, piss me off.
Sure.
But, the person that has me walking through this house talking to myself and
in the bathroom
talking to myself and out on the deck in the backyard talking to myself, the person who does that is my bride. And there should be no one else on the planet that makes you as mad as your spouse does, because that's the person that you ultimately spend the most time with at the end of the day. When you find yourself not getting mad at your spouse, when you find yourself in that point where your spouse is not invoking that type of emotional response from you, you know that that spark has been gone.
Oh my.
And that spark has been lost.
That's something.
Because that's the person that's supposed to evoke the most emotion out of you is your spouse.
I was thinking, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was thinking about the fact that, we consider each other to be best friends. People throw that around all the time, and I see it. People post it on Facebook. My husband, my best friend, my wife, my best friend, blah, blah, blah. And you can literally watch this couple. And if you're best friends, I'm concerned, because this person is taking their most private things to other people. Outside of their home, outside of their marriage. They have confidants that they vent to.
Right.
That's not their spouse.
Right.
The friendship is significant. It is like, I don't even know how you could maintain a marriage with any type of longevity without a secure friendship. That means trust. That means honor. That means respect.
Absolutely.
That means, all those things go into it. And if you're not able to do either of those things, then you might be setting yourself up for a problem in a relationship. Yeah. Because if you respect him, you're not going to hurt him. If you admire him, you're always inspired. If you honor him, you're going to always want to do things that make him feel good, look good, appear good, so it's always in the back of your mind somewhere. You always are thoughtful of your spouse. Some people are not thoughtful constantly of their spouse.
Being mindful, I think, is important.
Sure.
In the decision-making process, just even earlier before we were recording this, in parenting, having that conversation and being mindful of communication and being mindful of, letting the other person know what's going on and what's happening. And that's more paramount because we are parents. The communication has to be even better than even a couple that does not have kids, because when you're parenting and you've got a kid who gets into those teenage years that understands how to, go to one parent and say something and go to another parent and say something, and that happens a lot. And then when those conversations are not taking place is how those kids take advantage of that. And I think one thing that our kids have probably known over time is that, we're going to have a conversation and we're going to talk at some point. Few things sometimes, if you forget, our daughter has a habit of, sometimes telling me something a day before she tells her mom, or she'll tell her mom something a day before she tells me. She'll get around to it, but there's a gap in between.
I don't think it's intentional.
I don't think it's intentional.
I think the reason why she does that is because that first parent does not answer her quick enough. She needs an answer. She is like, I asked you, you didn't answer me. Let me try this other one. You know what I'm saying? But whoever's around can get it.
Yeah, that's true. So communication is important. I think also, we've set some intentional goals in communicating. We've set some intentional goals in career. We've set some intentional goals in family. I think those are important. I think in 14 years, I think we have changed tremendously from where we were in year one. We are both different people. And I think this marriage is in a different place than it was 14 years ago. We were, as I said in my post, in our anniversary post, we were two immature, broken people who were coming from crazy relationships and crazy situations and, crazy livelihoods that we were in. And me coming from being in the music business full time and, you living in Atlanta and coming back over here and, getting back into the corporate world and diving off into that and us, starting a business together. And that was kind of the point, I think kind of in year 6 or 7 of our marriage that we really started learning how to work together and communicate. And it's funny because it took a lot of time. Like you're going to be evolving and learning as the marriage goes. You're going to learn something new every year, and you're going to reach a milestone every year. And even as much as you might know somebody, you still don't know the heights that they can reach. You still don't know where that person is going to evolve to in a marriage. You know, it takes years. 14 years from now, we'll still be evolving. Sure. And we'll be different than we are now. We'll be able to reflect on it. You know what I'm saying? God willing. So, you have to be there and you have to be willing to evolve. And sometimes that doesn't happen for everybody, which, leads us to, talking about what's been happening here in the past week. Of course, I call it breakup week 2023. Because there's a lot of breakups from these celebrity couples. And I think in talking about outgrowing someone, Teyona Taylor and Iman Shumpert announced that they were going to be separating. And then a lot of people came on and they were saying, oh, my God, how can you say that you are outgrowing someone? That doesn't make any sense. And Teyona was like, we are great business partners. We are great parents. We are great friends. We are just not a great married couple. And everybody was like, well, if y'all are such great friends and y'all are great this and y'all are great that, why aren't y'all together? And I think in a lot of instances when you have these celebrity couples that people have invested themselves in, they want them to stay together, for selfish reasons. But
it gives us something to believe in.
I wanted to get your thoughts on that because, I saw a lot of people, there was a post that went viral about outgrowing your spouse. And of course, it was a young person who hadn't really lived a lot of life yet and was probably in their 20s. Oh, I can't, what is this outgrowing thing that y'all are talking about? It's just something that's just made up. And I read it and I was like, that's crazy because you hadn't really lived life. You can absolutely outgrow somebody. And in Teyona's case and Iman's case, you can absolutely be very good friends and co-parents with someone that you absolutely positively cannot be married to and should not be married to, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that?
So I kind of have I'm still developing my thought on that, but what I'll share is I believe that it is possible to outgrow a person. But I also believe that if you put in the work individually and together to pay attention to your spouse, I don't think outgrowing happens when you're supposed to be together. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think the outgrowing happens when one person is doing self-work and the other person is not, or is not doing it at the same pace. Mm-hmm. There has to be an intentional effort to stay in touch with each other, to make, like I just finished saying, you have to make time and effort. You put in time and effort to have conversations. How do you feel? What is your emotion? How was your day? You have to be interested in your spouse. You have to care about what they're going through and pay attention to how they're growing. People who grow apart, they who end up not together, they grow apart because they have not been sharing their lives together. That's what I believe. So I think you have to be real intentional. It's very hard to do if your work is on one coast and you live on another coast and he works on another coast. Like celebrities, that's possible for them. But the ordinary,
when you both have something going on.
Yeah, the ordinary regular people who are in the house together every day, who, that the only way you outgrow that person is A, you shouldn't be married in the first place, or B, you're not attentive to your marriage and your spouse.
I think even in the case of people who are not celebrities, I think there are a lot of times when one person has different goals and aspirations than the other person, a different vision than the other person, or in some instances, one person decides that they are done doing some of the things that they may have been doing as a couple. A prime example, a couple that is used to going out and partying together and being out all the time and traveling and going places and, socializing. And then one of the people decides that, I want to work on, me, or I want to work on this business, or I want to go back to school, or I'm just burnt out from being on the social scene, and they decide that they don't want to do that. And the other person still gets some pleasure from being able to do that. You can definitely start going in different paths. When you have one spouse that's more motivated than one spouse that wants to go back and get an education or try to get another job, or maybe try to work two jobs, maybe wants to get out of the neighborhood that they're in, or maybe wants a new vehicle or some things along those lines. And then you have one spouse who is content with being where they are. I call it the Carrie Heffernan and Doug Heffernan syndrome, where you had, of course, King of Queens. We're big watchers of King of Queens. We hadn't actually binged it in a while, but Carrie Heffernan was very upwardly mobile. She wanted to live in the city. She wanted to be in the mix. She wanted to be in the corporate world. She wanted to move up the corporate ladder.
But is that outgrowing or mixed matched?
It could be both a little bit, but if you end up together, there's an opportunity to where you can grow apart in that. Now, in their particular instance, they didn't grow apart. They talked about it and they were able to fix it. But, when you have one spouse that wants to do a lot and wants to be upwardly mobile, and then Doug only wanted to go to work, not be seen, not make any waves, not be known. He wanted to go to work, get his check, and come home.
But the problem came in for them when she wanted a life in Manhattan and he didn't want that. Mm-hmm. That was the problem for them.
And it almost broke him up.
He had no problem with her growing and going up the corporate ladder. He had no problem with that until it infringed upon the life that he saw for himself. Mm-hmm. I believe that if you stay in tune with each other through the whole process, then you don't get to that day where it's like, I want to go to Manhattan, and you like, what? You know what I'm saying?
It's just immediately.
Yeah, like, I don't want to go to Manhattan. Like, Carrie should have known that was not something he wanted. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it could have been worked out, but I do know that it shouldn't have been jarring for either one of them at some random point. Right. Like, it should have been some communication about what, like, we're talking now about retirement. Mm-hmm. I want a farm. I want chickens. I want cows. I want land. I want all of this. And you know that when we get to the point and you're not absolutely on board with that, our compromise is, okay, you can have that as long as the city is 5 minutes away. 10 minutes away.
It's got to be close.
I know that. So
it's got to be close.
There's not going to come a day when we get ready to have that life that we're going to be looking for the city being 30 minutes away. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So they had not been having that conversation, and thusly not being attentive to their spouses and attentive to their marriage.
You want to know what it is? And this is funny because this is really elementary. My thought process is I don't want to ever, and this is going to change the older that I get, and it's probably going to be coming up soon. Right now in my head, I don't want to be too far away from my house once I leave the club and I'm drunk. I don't want to have to drive too far.
That's your reason? That's your whole reason?
Not my main reason.
Because we don't really go to the club now.
Yeah. But I think about times when, just say for instance, if I'm doing an event and I'm exhausted from doing an event, if I'm doing Jackson Indie Music Week or I'm at a show that I'm promoting or whatever the case, and the end of the night is there and I'm exhausted, I don't want to have to think about, oh my God, I got a 25-minute drive to get home and I'm tired as hell. That's what I think about. Or we done went out and we done had a fantastic time and I am tipsy in a mug and I got to straighten up because I got a 25, 30-minute drive. Like the people that live on the outskirts of this city, like, my sister stays 25 minutes on the outskirts. She stays in another city, a couple of cities over from Jackson. And I think about the times when she comes here and we partying, we hanging out, we drinking, we doing whatever. And then she has to get in her car and she's got to drive 25, 30 minutes. That would be torture for me.
That's only because you have never had to do it. I lived in Clinton. My life was in Jackson. I drove to Jackson every day.
When I used to have to come, when I was coming to see you in Clinton, that was far as hell for me. I'm just going to put that out there now. When we were courting, I was coming out there. I would have come to wherever you were at the time. But when you were on the outskirts of the city, you know, I had to get myself ready to come out there. And then, of course, coming back from out there after leaving you was crazy. And then, of course, you know, my license was bad to the motherfucker at the time. So, of course, not only do I have to drive from Clinton back to Jackson, I got to drive from Clinton back to Jackson like I got dope in the car. That's how I got to ride back. I got to take the side streets. I got to go over the hills. I got to watch the lights. I got to watch this. I got to do all of this. I got 20 minutes of this before I can get close to my house and everything is cool. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you should be doing that anyway.
No, I mean, you know, that was then. Of course, you know, I'm completely riding legit now, ladies and gentlemen, by the way. But, you know, at the time, you know, courting you, I was risking it all to come out there to Clinton. You know what I'm saying? I was risking it all because I was in love, and I was risking it all. Bad license and all. Driving out there 20 minutes, drinking, because I was always drinking. Always had a beer, you know, not drinking and driving per se, but, you know, drinking and then driving. But, you know, that's not what I want to do. You know, you want the farm life, and I'm cool with the seclusion and the quietness now as I'm getting older. I'm cool with that. But I need to be able to not have to drive that far to get the turn up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think turn up is going to be that prevalent forever.
It might not. It might not be. But, you know, in the case of Teyona and Iman, I think they made a good decision. I think that for their children, I think having a cordial relationship and being cool with each other and being able to co-parent, I think that's one of the best things in the world. Because those kids are going to still come up in a loving environment, and you don't have to stay around for the kids, you know, and be in a, you know, tumultuous, toxic, bad energy of an experience of a marriage because you're staying together for the kids or you're trying to push through something when the two of you have gone on divergent paths.
And it seems like they have a very mature and caring relationship. Because they had been separated for a while, she said, before it even came out. She only mentioned it because people started talking and rumors started circulating. So she had to speak to it. But they seem to have handled it like friends would. Yeah. And, you know, I can appreciate that. And it still seems really beautiful. You know, I don't want to see them break up, but, you know. Who are we? Who are we? You know, at the end of the day, it still seems like they handled it in a very loving, caring way and respectful of each other. So, I mean, what else can you ask for?
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Of course, if you are just tuning in, of course, this is the first episode of season 3 of According to Kaz and Queen. Of course, this is brought to you by the Kundi Collective. www.kundicollective.com www.kundicollective.com. I've got on one of the shirts right now. This is one of our newest designs right here. Heal. All right. www.kundicollective.com. Go get you one of the t-shirts. Of course, if you've been watching the past seasons, I have been sporting the Kundi Collective gear. Shouts out to everybody that has been purchasing the t-shirt, man, and repping for Mississippi and repping for blackness. Now, speaking of rumors and having to speak to rumors, man, I sent you the video of the battle rap that was going on with the guy who, you know, was supposedly putting Remy Ma on blast. There is allegations that she has cheated on Papoose. Everybody has watched them on Love and Hip Hop, and they've watched them be on the Black Love shows, and they were being touted as the picture of Black Love within the hip hop community.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay.
Because really, in the hip hop community, who was there?
They would be there.
They were it.
I mean, you got T.I. and Tiny.
Yeah, they together. It's a rocky road.
It looked like a rocky road to us, but it don't look like it's a rocky road for them.
You know what? You're probably right. You're probably right.
They understand each other clearly.
Yeah, and I think that's important.
There
you go. They
understand
each other.
It don't have to make sense to nobody but them.
Exactly. So, you know, I I do occasionally to pass the time. I will go and check out battle raps. I'll check out, URL, Smack, videos. I like lyrics and I like to hear cats spit, and I'm a fan of battle rapping. So I sent you, and occasionally, you'll dive in and you'll check it out. Listen for some witty.
I like a good old battle.
If it's some witty
Good rap
punchlines.
battle.
Well, this was a good old rap battle.
It was indeed.
And Remy Ma is the host of a rap battle league, and allegedly she is, as the gentleman said, she is screwing the help. One of the battle rappers that is in the league, Remy Ma, allegedly has been cheating on Papoose with him. There's allegedly videos of them out eating together, and this battle rapper decided to air all of this out in the battle, and I sent it to my wife just to get her reaction because I knew she hadn't seen it from this particular angle, and you get a chance to delve in, and when you know the back, if you just watch it at first and not knowing kind of the backstory and not knowing what's happening, you'll watch it and you'll be like, hey, what's going on? But when you have read social media and kind of figured out what's happening and you know what's going on and you go back and you look at it from this angle, man. My wife hit me in the inbox and was like, man, with the emoji, with the exploding head emoji. Because I'm talking about Buddy. Buddy went in.
For a long time.
He went in for a long time. It was a long time. It was so
long.
I can imagine.
So long, y'all.
I can imagine for Remy Ma, that was probably like an hour.
I told you, I feel like that girl left her body. Like her whole spirit left her body and went somewhere else because it was so bad for so long. Mm-hmm. And she had this blank look on her face, like either she was trying to think of what she was going to do or say, or she couldn't gather anything. I
think in her mind, she had disappeared. I think what she thought is, I am invisible now, and they can't see me.
They can't see me. Can y'all see me? Y'all can't see me, Ken.
And we were looking right at you.
It was horrible.
And the still shots of the photos of the people around her with the looks on their faces like, oh, my God. Do you hear what this man is saying? There's one girl that's behind her. It's hilarious because her mouth is wide open like, I can't believe this. Oh, my God. And Remy Ma is sitting there with this glassy look, and this dude is going in, and he's going in, and he's going in, and he's continuously going in, and he's battling the dude that Remy allegedly has slept with. And it's wild. I think that's probably one of the worst ways that you can be exposed for cheating.
But it seems like they have a regular crowd. Everybody knows everybody. Mm-hmm. And it did not seem like anybody there was shocked or surprised at the news. I don't think they were. It seemed like they were shocked that he said it, not that it was not true or true. Like there was nothing in there that was like, it was all like,
He said it.
Yeah, he said
it out loud.
He said it out loud. He said it hard. He spoke to the dude. He spoke to Remy, and he spoke to Papoose. It was amazing. It was amazing.
He put it together quite well. Man, that's probably a horrible way to get outed for cheating. Do you have any stories of getting outed for cheating? Are you going to say that you haven't cheated?
Can you see me?
I can see. You thought you had disappeared. Nope, it didn't work. You're still here. Y'all can see her. Y'all can see her, right? She's still here.
When I was younger, I liked two dudes. Mm-hmm. They were friends. You know, when you're young, this stuff happens. It's not big news. Mm-hmm. But I liked two dudes. Both of them kind of knew I liked them. And neither one of them really was all about me or anything, but they was probably just trying to hit. Mm-hmm. So they tolerated me. Mm-hmm. And I just was talking to both of them. And my sister told them both that I was talking to them.
Oh, wow. That's terrible.
She told them both that I was talking to them.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Your sister ratted you out.
She ratted me out, and I watched her do it. Like, she stood in front of our house and told both of them at the same time.
Did she call them over?
I if she called
Why
them
did they
over
end
if
up
they were
together at
just
the same time?
outside. You know, they were neighborhood people, so you know, you be out in the neighborhood, everybody out and stuff. So I don't know if she like called them or how the conversation went on, but they both confronted me afterwards, and I was too young to know how to get out of it. So I was just like, huh? What? Didn't really make no difference though. Either way, we just picked up where we left off at the next day.
That's tough. You see a lot of older people that are still getting caught up like that in the same way. I was looking at, they had a video of an episode of Cheaters. And you know, the most ironic part about this is that Peter Guns is the host of Cheaters now. And he's a notorious cheater. Mm-hmm. So he walked upon this dude, and Peter Guns was confronting the dude about cheating. And the dude was like, hey man, that you Peter Guns? You be cheating too. It's hilarious. I got to send that video to you. It's hilarious because he was flabbergasted like, hey man, you doing what I'm doing. You can't be hosting the show. I thought that was pretty funny.
So have you think you're not going to have to answer that question?
That's cool. I can answer the question. I mean, it's a lot of instances. I mean, I can't, pinpoint, walking across, on one of the down periods of, being single on campus and having broken up, having the long-term relationship where y'all had the breakup periods in between. But, walking on campus, holding one girl's hand, and then there's another girl waiting for you at the class because she knows your class schedule. And I'm walking across the parking lot, and she's outside the building. It was a Blackburn Language Arts building. I was going into a mass comm class, and she watched me walk across the parking lot, and I was holding another girl's hand. So she watched me, and I wasn't even paying attention. And by the time I got up close, it was over with at that moment.
Did you try to lie?
Nah, the jig was up at that point. Yeah, and there was another time that I actually went and was talking to one girl downstairs in the lobby of the dorm at Alexander, and another chick came down while I was downstairs. She was on her way somewhere, and I was just downstairs in the lobby. Reckless, ridiculous, because I knew that she was in the dorm, and I took no precautions at all whatsoever to not do that. I don't know what that was. Like, it's just crazy. Like, when you're young, you just do crazy things. But, and those were happening in the periods of downtime with the relationship that I was in, the steady relationship that I was in.
So were you in relationships with either of these girls? Mm-mm. So was it cheating then?
I got caught.
It was cheating in that they didn't know about each other.
Yeah.
Okay. I get
but
that.
I wouldn't consider it cheating in a sense because I wasn't really in relationships with them. But,
Did you lose either of the girls?
In one instance, I did for a second.
You got it back.
And then in the other instance, both of them was like, I'm good. But, those things happen. So you can go from high school all the way up to when I got into the adult period, and even all the way up to the break that you and I had for those 2.5, 3 years, it never happened again at that point. But I didn't really consider those to be relationships anyway. Those were just holdovers until I got back to you.
I see men make a lot of, and I know women cheat too. I'm not trying to act like women don't cheat, but I see men, grown men, make a lot of crazy decisions.
I'm going to be honest with you, baby.
Y'all don't know how to cheat.
Men are not that bright, okay? I'm just going to say that right now.
Okay.
We're not that smart. And I know there's a lot of guys who are going to be watching this, going to be like, hey, man, don't say that. Or, hey, dude, what's wrong with you? You betraying men, especially some of the hoteps out there are going to be really mad. But dudes as a species, we're not that smart, and we're not that hard to figure out.
Definitely not.
I try to tell people that all the time. So in knowing this, and in knowing that we're not that smart, and knowing that we're not that hard to figure out, we have to be smarter in what we do. If you're trying to be covert in what it is that you're doing, you got to be smarter.
But you don't necessarily have to be that smart if the chick gonna let you do it. Yes,
men only get away with what women allow them to get away with. But, Country Wayne said it in his stand-up, by the way, that we just watched. Men are out, and if they're out and they see they side chick and they with their woman, the dude, absolutely, he will go into convulsions. You can't even They hold the demeanor changes, they breathing pattern changes, their eyes get dilated, like there's something that's going on, their hands start sweating, something happens, they get fidgety, they can't even be in the proximity of the side chick with their women. And the women, on the other hand, like he said, the women will have the side dude come up and introduce them to the main dude, and you won't even know. Much more cool, calm, and collected in the way that happens. And because dudes don't really ask a lot of questions. Like he said, like Country Wayne said, she'll introduce you to the dude, and the dude will be like, how you know him? Well, he does taxes. And then you be asking him to help you with your taxes. Can you really do it, dude? Like, we be really that stupid. You know what I'm saying? So those things happen.
Crazy.
It is crazy. But I think, and I won't say that's in 100% of the cases, but, it happens in a lot of the cases. So, those instances. But shouts out to everybody that's been caught cheating out there. I know a lot of you have. At the end of the day, it's cool. Those are the things that we talk about here when we're sitting there chilling. Got to touch on this. Got a couple of things before we get out of here. Of course, I want to address something, and you've already made your statements on it to give you a chance to make the statements on it, but I got to say this for everybody that's listening. The 60 Minutes piece that they did on Deion Sanders that painted the city of Jackson in a very negative light, and everybody's got their opinions on Deion, and I've made my opinions very, very clear on what I feel about it. Listen, if you are in a city that's 85% black, where the black people only own about 10 to 15% of the wealth, anybody that's driven around this city, we know that poverty exists, and we know that dilapidated houses exist. No one is trying to hide the fact that there is poverty and rundown houses in the city of Jackson. I think y'all completely missed the point of people who had a problem with the 60 Minutes piece. When you're talking about finding the best of one city and then purposely going and trying to find the worst of another city, I think it was disingenuous of 60 Minutes to be able to do that. And shouts out to the general manager of WAPT Channel 16 who did the video editorial, kind of basically saying that, you're showing the best of one city and the worst of another city when there's so much good stuff that's going on in Jackson. I do not understand people who are so excited about trying to point out negative things and are so excited about trying to run our city down. We know that there's challenges. We know that there's poverty. We know that there's homelessness. We know that there's crime. We know that the things that happen in a growing metropolitan city are happening here. That doesn't mean that we have to harp on them. That doesn't mean that we have to show them. It does not mean that we have to show the worst of us when we are put on a national stage. There's already a negative narrative about Jackson, Mississippi as it exists, and you should be proud of the place where you are. I've never seen so many people who will literally shit on the place that they live. Like, you live here. You lay your head here. How could you fix your mouth to shit on this city? With all the challenges that exist, we know that it exists. We have people here who are fighting every day, litigating every day for it. Even the people who I've seen on social media, the most people that I've seen dumping on HBCUs has been black people, which is the most unfortunate thing that I've ever seen. It's almost as if, there's a lot of black people who devalue black things. And that's unfortunate because the biggest critics of HBCUs are black people. As much as we have to fight and as much as we've been through, the majority of the people that I see running down Jackson State or HBCUs, period, and talking about the campuses and talking about the schools and the neighborhoods that surround them have been black people. And we devalue things that are black. And that's an unfortunate thing. But you had your thoughts on Deion, and I want to make sure you get those out as well, because my sentiments exactly, I think this is the sentiments of everyone who kind of realized that the jig was up, when he came to town originally. And I was originally in support of it until, of course, he left and started lying and throwing shade on the city, though. But you had something very significant to say, and I think that's kind of a lot of people's sentiments.
Well, I'm not real invested in the Deion talk at all. Mm-hmm. And mostly it's because he has always been who he is. There's nothing new about him. And ultimately, at the end of the day, he is looking out for him, period. Doesn't matter who gets squashed. no matter who comes out looking bad, as long as he looks good.
That's it.
So I think that we need to worry less about his antics, because he's not personally attacking us. He's not personally attacking Jackson. He, in his mind, is building himself and building his brand and staying on task to what he sees himself as. And so I don't really get invested in it. I don't care either way. And as far as it goes for the 60 Minutes thing, I think that if we are telling the truth, I don't have a problem with the truth. If you're going to show the bad, show the good too.
Yes.
That's the only issue I have. I'm not denying that there are parts of this city that need to be given attention.
Absolutely.
But that's in every city.
Absolutely.
Every city. You can go to Clinton and find areas that need some assistance and need some lifting up and some
You can go to Richmond,
attention.
you
You
can
can
go
go
to
to
Madison,
any area,
any city. Yeah.
any city, Atlanta, Mobile, anywhere, Gulf Coast. There is bad areas in every city. What the issue is if you only tell one side of the story, then it's not true.
If you go to Atlanta, and it's a black city, black leadership, you can find poverty in dilapidated houses, and you can find homelessness, you can find crime, you can find all the things that you find in Jackson in a microcosm. You can find them in Atlanta. But when they do stories on Atlanta, my God, they never ever talk about the hood. They never talk about the projects. They never talk about the poverty that exists in the city, except that it's there. You know that it's there, and you know that it exists, and people in Atlanta know that it exists. There are a lot of artists that are coming out of Atlanta that come out of that poverty, but they don't promote it as a way in promoting the city. We have let 60 Minutes and all these other news outlets use the worst of us to promote our city to the rest of the world, to make the rest of their people on social media who saying that Jackson is just a dump all the way across the board. There are no good parts to Jackson, or there's like one little enclave of Jackson that's good and the rest of it ain't worth a damn. And that's the narrative that's been painted, and that's unfortunate. And
so it all boils down to this. We can let other people speak the narrative for us, or we can speak our own narrative. And if it comes down to that, then that's just what it is, because nobody knows our hometown like we do. So if it's going to be up to us to speak the truth about who we are, where we come from, what we live like, then that's what we got to do. It's better for us to create the narrative than to complain about the narrative that somebody else has put out there.
That's it. And if you're paying attention, this is season 3. You're going to be hearing a lot about debate night. All right. And if you want to know what debate night is, just stay tuned. If you are 30, 35 plus, if you're single, if you're dating, if you're divorced, if you're looking for a live interactive experience where we're going to be having conversations about relationships and marriage and dating and all of the great things that happen with you getting into the 30 plus realm, we've got an event coming up for you. It's going to be a live interactive social experience that's going to have libations and live music along with it. Is going to be taking place at Center Stage in Jackson, Mississippi on November the 24th. All right. According to Kaz Queen is going to be a part of it. Shouts out to our brothers, the Vibe Controllers. They're going to be a part of it. We have got Melanie Sanders from Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Bell Collector is going to be a part of it. We have Pia. Huh?
Where are you getting this from?
I'm getting this from all the bios. I got all the information.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. You didn't know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. That's where,
Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted. Go
ahead. All
ahead.
right, that's cool. So, yeah, and we've got Pia Najjar, who is the general manager of Crunch Fitness. She is a huge fitness instructor. She's going to be a part of it. We're basically going to be taking our podcast and we're going to be doing them live on stage. It's going to be like you're coming to a concert, but you're going to be seeing the podcast and you're going to see us do our thing live on stage. We're going to be having live conversations, live interaction, live music, libations. It's going to be live. You're going to have the opportunity to see us live and in person. We're going to do it here in Jackson, Mississippi, and we're going to take this thing all over the state and all across the South. It's going to be really dope. We're going to take this thing live and on the road. So stay tuned because debate night is coming. All right. Make sure you get ready for it. Make sure you look out for the information. We're going to tell you exactly what's going down so you can be a part of that as well. And tell us what you think about the new setup. All right. I took a lot of time to come up here and make sure that everything was right and get
and
the
now
lighting right.
Take a lot of time to take it down.
So you didn't have to even say that.
I did.
You didn't have to say that. I wasn't going to leave that up. She was worried about me leaving the setup, and I told her that I was going to be taking it down because, of course, other things have to happen in this space that we're here. I'm going to take it down, y'all. All right. But I want y'all to let us know in the comments what y'all think about the new setup, what y'all think about the logo, the banner. Y'all leave a comment. All right. Put your comments in there. Of course, subscribe, like and subscribe, turn on the notifications. YouTube.com/Brad Kamikaze Franklin. Let's get these viewers up. Let's get these subscribers up. We are touching 1,000. We're almost there. Let's get it there. Let's keep it rolling. And just stay tuned. We got a lot going on.
We back, season 3.
We are back with season 3. This is episode 51. Make sure y'all tune in. Make sure you share this, man. When it pops up, we back in the place and we in full effect, man, with more great conversations, more laughs, more things to make you think. All of that good stuff, man. We are looking forward to it. So y'all make sure y'all continue to tune in. Got a hold to that whiskey sour a little bit earlier than I should have. And it's already going to work.
How?
Because I'm finished. And I'm feeling,
Oh, good.
You know what this is right here.
I know.
Y'all can't see it because if y'all are listening on Spotify, but if you're watching on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. When you get it right here. When you in there. You know what I'm saying?
You in there?
I'm almost in there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. At any rate, man, we're going to see you guys next time, man. For According to Kaz Queen, I'm Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
We'll see you guys next time.
Good.